Hopefully we are live on all of the platforms. What's up, everybody? It's me, G-Max, and I'm joined, as always, by my lovely co-commentators, Richard and Eddie. Hello, guys.
What's up? So good to be back. Oh my god, racing again.
It has been a little while. So we're back. My chair has weird stoppers on it, so I can't move it around. But without further ado, we can just hear this horrible helicopter sound in the background. I'll get rid of that. So that was ACC just running there. We're currently in practice. We've had some delays. Obviously, we also just want to touch on the fact that sending out all of our thoughts and special prayers to everyone affected by the coronavirus. It's affected a lot of the real live motorsports and quite a lot of like real life actual things beyond motorsports. So yeah, just a sparing thought for those that have been impacted by that, jobs, etc. It's always a privilege to be able to do a stream like this for something like sim racing. So yeah, thanks guys, thanks for tuning in. And yeah, that's all the serious stuff either way. Now we can get over to the real news, which is obviously the round here at Misano. We've been delayed, but we have not cancelled, so we've been able to incorporate it into the calendar. And I'm glad, because Misano is a track that I really like. I love it.
I have very little experience, very honest with you, G. Very
really?
Little. Yeah. Now, this is not a track I'm very familiar with. And we seem to have lost Eddie by the looks of things.
Yeah.
We no longer have a Spandex scope.
I think Eddie dropped, and I'm not sure what happened there, but we'll try and sort some things out. Let me try and... I just need to go back to my normal overlays so that I can just forward our session quickly. Let's go.
What's been quite interesting is obviously practice, but some of the names we were expecting to see very high up on the list, not so high up on the list. Maybe for different things, really. But yeah,
I'm just trying to get starting. No, I'm just trying to type everything in here. Sorry, Eddie has dropped. Okay, so let's just get into quali here. Okay, there we go. So we've gone over to quali. Let me get back to my regular cameras and things. Let's get some sounds going here, some audio.
They really are going to have enough light to actually do their quali session in.
Yeah, it was set a little bit earlier so that it could be a daytime quali session, and it was done intentionally for that purpose, you know, so that guys could get a good fair quali in. It is a night race, so things are going to be interesting. Cars are starting to go out of the pits here at Misano, and it's quite an interesting pit exit as well. It can interfere quite heavily with guys coming around on flying laps and things like that during the race. So during the race, exiting the pit lane, I think that the onus is on the driver that's on his, you know, coming to take their position to not overextend.
Yeah, absolutely.
To run wide. So it's going to be an interesting place, I think, for a lot of people to be exiting there. Without further ado, though, let's really start to talk about some stuff and things. Let's start to run through some of these cars that we've got in the lobby here. Starting off with Jason Absmeyer. So he has changed things up. He has moved over to the Lexus. He has dropped the Porsche. Feels a lot more comfortable in that. So we'll find him raining around in a different car. You won't see that black and green Porsche anymore. Will be that Lexus.
How you feeling about that?
I'm okay with it. You know, Lexus is one of those cars that's probably my second favorite in this game. And
really?
To be honest, it was one of my go-tos after the Porsche. And even if I was to choose something else now, I would go back to sort of a Lexus. I'm pretty comfortable with it.
That's quite an interesting choice. I would never have actually thought of that. We used it for that one early Hungaroring round that we did.
Yeah, with 4 ATK.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was, and it was a good. It was. I mean, I've got nothing to say, ill to say about the car, but yeah, I wouldn't say it's 5.
Oh no, for me it's just got the only complaint I have is it's a bit sluggish in acceleration out of first and second gear. And if you what's great about it when you just pick it up sort of stock standard is that it comes out being pretty competitive without having to do too much tuning. As a Porsche driver, I found that I tinker around a lot with setups and get a lot of help from teammates to try and get the thing feeling a little bit better. Up on screen at the moment, we've got J.K. Manar. He's also another car switcheroo. Was our only McLaren driver for a long time, but has now decided to match his teammate Sebo Maloto and pick up the Porsche. Of course, in the stock standard Kaike Racing colors as well. Almost dressed up to impress for those that do like colors. Me, for example, I'm a fan of the livery choice.
You're loving this Porsche.
Yeah, for a lot of people, they're not such a fan of the Smarty layout. Going over to Stark Buerta from Am2 Race. He's still got his traditional Aston Martin. No big changes there. See him a little bit slow coming out there. He's got Fisser behind him, who looked like he was struggling. And that's a part of the track that last part of the sort of complex becomes quite difficult to keep the car stable. You're coming in from being flat out and suddenly getting on the brakes, but not too much to lose too much speed before you get down to that sort of hairpin. It really is a dangerous place for the cars to be going around.
Very unsettled, I find. Your car is like almost treats it like it's an off-camber corner. It loses a lot of that downforce as you begin to brake for that hairpin.
We get to talk about Bruno as well. He's now come up and set his first qualifying time up on the board, 134.8. He's in his Silverback Racing Mercedes. Very traditional, very traditional for Bruno as well. If you spot him in any league, whether it's South African or European, you'll find him representing in his Silverback Racing Merc, and a really great competitive driver. Currently our championship leader as well, which, I mean, that's a big thing, right? You've got some money on the line. You want to be leading the championship, and you want to do so by a decent margin as well. He does have Jason Absmeyer hot on his heels in second position. But yeah, to be honest, it's been a great battle between these two throughout the duration of the season so far.
No, it's been one to watch, actually, and Bruno has really proven himself to be one up for the challenge of taking on some of these guys. This is my first time seeing him, and it's been thoroughly impressive, remarkably impressive.
Good news, gents. I am back.
Eddie is back, so that's great news. Just in time to start seeing some qualifying lap times popping up as well.
Just want to do a quick shout out to everybody over at Race Day TV. They are piggybacking on our stream tonight, seeing that we're technically the only racing live in the country at this point.
Oh, well, thanks for joining us. Yeah, and we really will. Dominus Gaming ACC Season 1. Bruno here coming into traffic, trying to set himself a flying lap, and unfortunately not going to manage to do so there, running very wide and invalidating his lap. So let's just talk about where Jason Absmeyer is sitting at the moment, because this pole position is going to be a shootout between these two. They've been close before, and again here, we're not going to see much between them. A tenth separating them at the moment. Absmeyer having switched to the Lexus. Eddie, I don't know if you were here to talk about that as well.
I was listening on the stream through my mobile data while my internet was taking an hiatus. I did see, seems most Porsche guys in ACC have started dropping the Porsche for lesser cars.
I mean,
even myself, I've been forced to do it.
Yeah, it's a great fun car. It's probably got one of the most unique handling characteristics in the game, but it is really a beast that needs a lot of time put in. And if you can't put in hours and hours into setup work before service, it's just not.
Nickname is the Widowmaker for very good reason.
Is this maybe a time for me to just mention that I was potentially ahead of the curve here? I got called the dirty Bentley driver not so long ago.
The thing is, you
and now you two are running away.
Yeah, so
hey, I love the Porsche. I'm a huge Porsche fanboy, but I couldn't drive that thing for nothing. It kept killing me in the kitchen.
Richard.
We remember on launch day you starting up the Bentley.
Yeah, I mean, he drove it once or twice to take some pictures of screenshots, which I don't think we can really count as being a Porsche driver.
No.
None of us have had any experience driving.
Does not put you in the club.
Yeah.
None of us have had experience.
Excuses.
Listen, none of us have had experience driving real cars. The best that we can do is sim it up. Richard, have you driven a Porsche around a racetrack? You probably might have.
I have not.
Okay,
I have not actually.
You're a quick karting driver in real life, so I mean we can give you that as
we've been
sort of your
allegedly.
Allegedly, thank you, Eddie.
I mean I've seen some stickers and things that he's stuck onto a go-kart, which look like he's doing something.
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah.
So I feel like he does have a little bit of real life racing experience, which didn't really count for his lap times in ACC. Really didn't count for any of us. That's why we're here broadcasting the race instead of racing with our fellow lobby drivers. I mean, we know all the guys. Yeah, we know all the guys that are here. Absmeyer, that's exactly what we were going to talk about. 134.4, literally obliterating Bruno there to just say, I'm here and I'm back and I've got a new car. And I'm here to battle.
Let me take half a second from you and just rub it in your face, I guess.
I mean, it's absolutely the knife fight that we wanted to see. And what's quite impressive is Louis Visser for Swift Motorsport in his Ferrari. Just look at where he sits. Currently in third position.
Practice, Visser and Visagie were both impressive.
Well, I mean, Visagie to me has always been someone to keep an eye out. I mean, Visagie has had hot lap times that I just don't know where they come out of in other series, and most definitely needs to work on consistency in races. But Louis Visser, I mean, that's a flipping great qualifying time coming out from him in third place. So Visagie currently sits in fourth, Albertine in fifth, Kleb, he's holding down sixth, so quite a way down the pack at the moment. De Wet, currently in 7th. Buerta, he's exiting the pits here. He's in 8th. Richie, our first Porsche on the grid, really, in terms of positioning, currently sitting in 9th for Senna Racing. Vanna, he's down in 10th position from TGN. He's got that Mercedes. If you do visit Vanna's place of beautiful simulators
racing
ever,
glory.
yeah,
Oh,
I mean, it's a place you could get lost in forever.
Did you manage to visit him the other day?
I did. There's only one, and there's only one rule. You're only allowed to drive Mercs there. So that's what I mean. He's got the practice. He's got the simulators as well. So Vanna down in 10th. It's also his first time competing over in ACC and in a league. His first DG league, and doing really well at the moment. So
I'm
position
super
for him.
happy he's joined us. To be
Likewise.
honest.
Likewise. I used to- I used to
Hendricks
drive
runs.
in Forza.
He's a stalwart of local sim racing, and I think it's only fitting that he is in our league.
Oh, for sure. I mean, even back from what he's done on the console side of things, he's just had involvement throughout the years, and it's great to have sort of people that have been involved for a long time, new people. It's all sort of coming together to do things, and that's what I really love about it. So J.K. Minart currently sitting in 13th. Lawrence just popped a time in front of him as Aston Martin for 12th. Then we've got Vivian Richards in 14th. Sebo struggling at the moment. You see that Porsche just trying to kill people at the moment as he runs into the kitty litter. In 15th at the moment. Then we got Christos Besson, who is, you'll see he's not setting a lap time. He's currently serving a qualifying penalty that he incurred from Suzuka, which has carried over here. So he's not allowed to make use of the qualifying time here. He'll start from the back of the grid. I do believe we had 18 drivers in our practice session, down to 16 here.
I currently only see 16 live.
Yeah, I see 16 as well. We've got 3 minutes left of qualifying before we go over to the race. And really it's down to Bruno, who has nudged away at that gap that Jason had set. To be fair, he's just a tenth off the time, which is where Jason was before he topped the time.
I don't think he's
in the YouTube chat channel. Cal M Pace saying he wish he had a extra kidney for this kind of stuff, but really not that expensive to get into some racing. If this is something you are watching and you're keen on doing, you could do this for on the cheap and have a lot of fun.
Pace is actually a very quick console driver. He just lacks the PC side of things. So to get him over to the PC side, but with ACC coming out onto PS4 and Xbox soon, and hopefully that's crossplay, that could then bridge the gap. We'd see a lot.
Crossplay would be nice.
Crossplay would be really nice.
If anybody from Sony or Microsoft's listening, crossplay would be very nice.
That'd be so nice. Like, just please, you know.
So Bruno was sitting in the pits. I thought maybe he was going to accept where he was sitting, but he is going out again because Jason set an even faster time for qualifying.
He's got one stab to do it though.
He does, and if anyone's got a chance to stab it, it's going to be Bruno. So I want to do an onboard with Bruno. Let's go and take a little ride around Misano.
I'll take that little opportunity. Just throw in some figures there. Misano is 4.2 kilometers long. It's got 16 turns, all with fancy, I think it's Italian names. Misano is in Italy, is it?
Yes, it's an Italian track, correct.
Yes, and used for a lot of motorbike championships actually. Superbike comes here, San Marino Motorcycle Grand Prix is here. Black Paint obviously uses it, DTM uses it, and then Formula Renault, which is a series I wish we could see more of.
I think right now Bruno's just trying to get as much warmth as he can. He's going to have a final stab before he attacks this last part of the track. Going to get the tires back to temperature, and let's just see what Bruno. Oh! And this is exactly where we said things could be problems.
He's still on an outlap, is he not?
Yes, this is actually his outlap. I don't think he's going to have enough time.
Yeah, he's going to start a flying lap now.
Is this the... Yes, he is. corner.
This is the last corner, or what's it, Misano curve onto the start-finish straight.
Awesome Source with his sub, playing all the jamming dubstep beats in the background. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. If you guys do want to tune in and join some sim racing things, dominusgaming.com is the place to go. That's where you will find all of the new information when it comes to registrations and leagues that will come. Discord is obviously the place we'll get some communication going. But right now, we're at the end of qualifying. There's the last laps for guys that are on hot laps, one of them being Bruno, who we're following at the moment.
Yeah, he's the one to watch.
He's a little bit up on his own time, but I mean, what is the gap he's got to close to Jason? Nearly 3/10?
Almost
that last
3/10.
corner, he scrubbed some speed there. That really hurt him to come through that last section. Yeah, I think that hot lap we were hoping for has maybe gone a bit.
Yeah, it hasn't gone the way that it needed to go, I don't think, for him to take this, which Jason will be absolutely over the moon about.
Yeah,
Jason needs a good result, and ideally he would need Bruno to not have a good result for his league hopes. So far it's been in the results kind of the Bruno show, if you will.
Bruno has not managed to do it, so let's run through our starting grid for tonight's race at Misano. Absmeyer will start in first, Cadhill second, Visser third, Visachi fourth, Albertine fifth, Kleb sixth, Richie seventh, Devet eighth, ninth for Buerta, 10th for Joe Burr, Hendricks 11th, Lawrence 12th, Menard 13th, Richards 14th, Malotto 15th, and Basson 16th. So we're going over to our session very, very shortly. And I'm pretty excited, to be honest. It's been a while. It's been 2 weeks since we've had racing. And those 2 weeks have felt really, really long to me. So it's going to be a giddy. We're going to a night race. So quali was during the daytime. A little curveball to be thrown into the mix will be this nighttime. Look at this. Darkness prevails. We're there. And we're on the starting grid for Misano. It's round 5 for Dominus Gaming's ACC GT3 World Championship Season 1. Currently, Bruno leads things. Let's just see if we can get a little standings at the bottom of our overall championship standings. So, at the moment, Cadhill, everything to race for, as does Absmeyer. Like you said, Absmeyer needs to have a fantastic race here. And ideally, Cadhill needs to have a terrible race for Absmeyer. But for the fans of Cadhill, of course, no one wants to see that. Olifant is in third in the championship, not able to attend the race tonight. So third position up for grabs. Basson, he could have had it. He's currently in fourth in the championship, but starts from the back of the grid here with a qualifying penalty. It's going to be an absolute blast of a race tonight.
This track is also, like we raced this in Monday Night Racing a few weeks ago. It is such a fantastic race track. Like, you have to be on it the whole time. It's narrow, it's quick, it's technical, and from previous races at least, it's close racing from lap 1 all the way to the end.
I'm going to pop up some name tags on the screen as well, just so that we have some idea of the drivers that we are following around. Makes things a little bit easier during the starting procedures. Of course, we go over to a manual formation lap. Drivers will be following an in-game formation lap, which has been implemented by Kunos. They've been working on it. It's ideally to just make sure that during the rolling starts, everybody starts fairly. Make sure that the pack also remains bunched up and competitive for the start. And Absmeyer will lead things away here.
We got to use that at the Kyalami for one of those Monday night races, and I can vouch for it. It works brilliantly, actually.
It needs to work because it's really there for the online lobbies, right? So the game has it there so that when you don't want to just compete in a league, you want to jump into something multiplayer, that everybody has the same sort of semblance of what they need to do on the formation lap. Not everybody really jumps into things understanding it fully, and I think that Kunos is got a long way to go as well in making things maybe a little bit more explanatory from a tooltips point of view. I mean, a lot of the car setups and stuff are quite difficult. I mean, the guys that are driving here are basically tuning cars with settings that you would be able to tweak around on a real sort of race car as well. Maybe a little bit more simplified in the form that you have a slider and a couple of clicks to do things instead of a mechanic running around your car. But it really does come down to understanding all the physics and what goes into making a sim racing game like this, and how it really sort of gives you that feel whilst driving.
I've also noticed over the years, you can't tell sim racers do a formation lap like you see them do it on TV. There's a lot of guys locally might only watch Formula 1 where no, you don't have rolling starts. It's not really part of the racing culture we understand. Yeah. So I'm glad that Kunos has added the visual guides, because it's made our rolling starts a hell of a lot easier.
Keep it between the green lines. Keep it in that corridor there. Done. Keep it up, kind of thing. Yeah, it was great. It was an awesome experience. Also, having very limited, experience with rolling starts, it was like a whole little mini game all on its own.
Shout out to Stumpy for the follow. Thank you very much. Just in time for us to really get into our last couple of corners. Guys will start to form up here. We'll start to get into position. Obviously, if you see drivers changing positions, it's basically the game just, still working out where they are on track. Before they cross the start-finish line, they'll all be back in position. We see the guys starting to bunch up now. Quite a couple of guys still at the back of the grid needing to get into position. So our leaders slowing the pace down. That's all on that built-in formation lap, getting things correct.
Corner coming up is the Misano curve, which is the last corner 16. So the next thing you'll see is live racing.
Right now we're going down the start-finish straight. We'll be green to go any second now. Absmeyer and Cadiel. Cadiel with the inside line off the starter. Fisaki as well. We're green to go at Misano. Round 5 is live. Cadiel on the inside. Look at that Merc on the inside. Absmeyer wants to try and hold him off. Has the inside coming through the next complex. Cadiel going to just hold on to the back of that Lexus there. And good defensive work for Absmeyer to get off the line. Going back down towards the back middle of the pack as well. It looks like good, clean racing coming out. All our drivers still getting away okay. Visahi into 3rd position here. Then we've got Richie. What a start from him. He's up into 4th. Richie from 9th place.
Back of the grid. Basson off with a couple other people. The vet.
Basson hitting Malotto.
Let's try and see if we can get a replay here. Basson on the outside here. Starting from the back, Malotto and Manar. Basson still holds that inside line. They're coming up to a dangerous part of the track. There's almost 4 cars wide, all looking for some space. Manar comes across, makes a little bit of contact, I think, with Basson there. But Basson with a dive into his teammate, Buerta there. Or not his teammate, sorry, Amter Race. That's Basson. He's made a little bit of a mistake there, and that's caused a big pile-up towards the back and changed up the order. It looks like it's benefited the Porsche boys. Manar and Malotto, 10th and 11th place respectively, now racing against each other, as well as Lawrence, who's just half
at the front though.
Half a second ahead.
All over Absmeyer and Fisaki all over Bruno.
Let's go and see the battle up at the front. So Absmeyer starts his 2nd lap here. Cadhill, like you said, trying to find a way past. It looks like he's going to struggle a little bit in the opening couple of laps here. Absmeyer already has the pace according to my my leaderboard, which isn't really too fair just yet. We'll start to see their best laps coming out during the next sort of 10 to 15 laps.
Looking through the field, I think the cold track is catching a lot of guys out. Lots of guys understeering out of corners, coming off the track wide.
Yeah, it's just
Pretty
like you read my mind. Minar
Yeah.
coming big off the circuit, as you say, that going so wide.
And I'm going to put all of that down to heavy fuel, cold tires, cold track.
Just cold. Yeah, no.
Yeah, it is cold everything.
The very surprising conditions, considering that they had a quali in the daylight. It's probably
It's also, I mean, it's not that cold as you would maybe expect. I mean, it is set to be 30 degrees for the race. You know, we kind of extended the sun hours. The sun does set quite late here in Italy, so there's still quite a lot of track warmth that's come through, and you can see Absma and Cadiel still just dogfighting it out at the moment. Let's see if we can go. Who's got themselves a drive-through there? That's Richie in 4th place. He's gone and got himself a drive-through. Let's go and see what's happened to him. I don't think we can jump back in terms of the replay. Looks like he's okay. Hasn't made
he must have
contact with the wall. He must have just
taken a couple of people up by cutting a corner.
Yeah,
he wasn't 4th at the start of the race.
Well, he made a great start up into 5th place from the start. He started in sort of 9th, 10th. So Richie does have a drive-through to serve, and that's going to be pretty costly considering we're only sort of 4 minutes into the race. 56 minutes left of racing, and already gonna have to go into the pits and probably find yourself coming out quite far towards the back. This is where the pack is still quite together in terms
Visser
of position.
Louis Visser on Kleb, they are less than a half a second from each other, and Visser trying to find a way through, and they're kind of being held up by Richie in front of them as well.
Yeah, they've got Richie, who is in front of them. Kleb is kind of worried about Visser here. Nice little onboard footage from the Ferrari. I love the pops on the downshifts of the Ferrari. Absolutely beautiful to watch.
Interesting train forming from 9th position down, all the way back down to Mr. Jabeur himself. But guys starting to bunch up quite nicely. Little pairs forming amongst
as
them.
Malotto dives onto the side of Lawrence.
Oh, Visser and Kleb though, I'm still going to follow this battle for a little bit. I mean, this is the battle for 5th and 6th at the moment. And it looks like Visser does have the pace. He catches back up to Kleb. Richie going to go in to serve his drive-through penalty. It will be interesting to see where this puts him out. So went in 4th and will come out definitely a lot sadder than he went in. So Kleb and Visser continue to fight it out. They're on their 3rd lap here.
The more I see this Ferrari, the more I want to drive it.
Visser's not quite in the position to make a move on Kleb yet. But he does seem to find in the braking zones, especially towards the end of the last sector, he just catches right back up to Kleb. And again through here, he's right on the back of that Mercedes. Visser hanging on into the slip. He will have that down this straight portion.
Gentlemen, sorry, have to go back. Huge accident caused by Jabeur. You're going to want to go back about 30 seconds and just watch this. Big accident caused. He's taken De Vet out, and quite seriously.
Onto Jabeur. I'm watching it here. So he's got a little train forming up in front of him. Minar's run quite wide.
Minar and Malotto hit each other.
Buerta, there's 3 cars going wide. He's going on the inside. He's made a collision on the inside there with Buerta. I see. And then made contact with Lawrence again. Rejoining onto the track. He hasn't caused an incident there. So, yeah, a little incident coming out there. May have picked up some damage too. Puts himself down into 13th place. Vanna Jobert. And who else was impacted there?
From my point of view, all his own fault, really. That was a really late dive, and
for sure, there was a little bit of patience required. There were cars making some errors up in front. Definitely had the pace to make a move somewhere, but just didn't manage to make it happen there. Got a little bit
draw
too
your attention
excited.
Back to the top 3.
Yeah, I'm watching the Cadiel abs. He has hit him, and another collision. So Cadiel waiting here for Absmeyer to come on by. Let's try and see if we can get back 30 seconds into this replay. They've started
a clear dive from Bruno.
They've started their 4th lap.
Putting it out there.
For sure. Cadiel wanting to make the move on the inside before the double right-hander goes in. Yeah, and you know what? It wasn't. I don't. It wasn't. It not even a dive, Eddie. It was trying to get onto the brakes, trying to brake just a little bit later. And you're in a position you can't steer out. You've got another car next to you. You can't abandon from anywhere that you're there. Going straight. Yeah, it was unfortunate. He's given the position back. Unfortunately, it has meant that Versace will now be our race leader. Versace there capitalizing off the mistake from Bruno, and we'll take the lead for now. Versace, I've talked about him before, a driver that really does have the legs to compete. You see him here up at the top three. He was hassling both Jason and Bruno. Would not have got through to this position with that mistake.
Sean Lawrence and Christos Besson. Also right on top of each other with Maloto just ahead of him. Oh, Christos makes a bit of a wiggle and
lost
a little bit of time. No, I'm going to continue trying to find a good fight somewhere on track.
Yeah, please find a good one before you interrupt me, Eddie.
Well,
rudely.
Berta is right on top of Jobert as well.
Absmeyer and Cadiel, they continue to dog it out. Of course, that gap is almost 5 seconds to Versace, so just pay attention to what's happening there. We want to see if Versace manages to hold on to that. He seemed to have the pace before, which indicates that unless these guys behind him really get done with their dogfights, that he might have a little bit of free space to do things. I mean, if Cadiel and Absmeyer continue to fight it out, it is just going to give Versace that breathing room that he may need to get that consistency. It's pressure that I think gets to drivers at the end of the day. It's easy to lap around at a slow pace and follow things, but when you've got cars and your battles and braking points and, you know, a whole rearview mirror full of either Merc for Jason at the moment or, you know, Lamborghini previously when he was putting pressure onto them. So at the end of the day, it's all about consistency, and Cadiel is fighting Absmeyer. I don't know if you guys are watching the same thing as me, but he is trying to find any place that he can get advantage. He's braking later, trying to carry more speed to the apexes as well. And I think it's maybe not paying off. The Merc looking a little bit more understeery, running very wide in certain places.
If you're able to, a minute back, I know it's a long way, I've just been able to go back and find it. Big incident between Christos Besson, Lawrence, and JK Minnar. JK Minnar being sent in a big way. He's definitely picked up damage, going to have to pit for sure.
Yeah, I won't be able to get back to that.
No, just letting you know
let's go and see some onboard here with Minnar. Obviously, with a damaged car, he's going to have a lot of pressure from the cars behind him. Maybe lead positions. Jobert maybe going to be the next to claim a victim of Minnar. Yeah, that understeer also just forcing Minnar out wide. He's going to take the position back on the inside. Made contact there with Jobert in a very bad position at the moment. Stays on the brakes. Doesn't want to get in the way. Gets out of the racing line. No cars coming out, but that's going to be a big error for Minnar and Jobert. Minnar not going to come off on top. Jobert goes through, but Minnar has dropped down the order. So can I run through things quickly? Give us a quick standings of where things stand. So let's go and see. Versace currently in first place in that beautiful Lamborghini for Pink Panther. Absmeyer in second with his Lexus, followed up by Cadiel in that Mercedes. Etienne Kleb, he's made his way up the order into fourth place in his Mercedes, with Fisser right behind him in that Ferrari. That battle still continues. We saw it a little bit earlier, and they continue to slug it out. Albertine, he's done well to get himself up into sixth place here. Tebo Maloto, very, very well driven from him, finds himself currently in seventh. Hendricks in 8th. Besson, 9th place. So, started in last at the back of the grid. Couple of incidents. Maybe some things that need to be reviewed. We're not sure. We did see one incident on camera. But currently in 9th place. And those are points that Besson needs. He was in 4th. Olifant Notch in 3rd in the championship, so that's going to be beneficial to him. Lawrence in 10th place. So holding down a top 10, always somewhere we want to be when we talk about finishing a race. Top 10 is good, top 5 is better, top 3 ultimate, first, everyone else below you is a loser, right? Stark Buerta 11th. Richie, he had to serve a drive-through penalty, was running in 4th place. That drive-through penalty has not served him well, sitting in 12th. Vanajobe, plenty of incidents and errors have sort of plagued his race, it seems. Hasn't been able to get the start that he wanted, hasn't been able to have the sort of mid-race either. And if you have picked up damage and you're trying to drive around with that, it's a long race to lose seconds by. 14th for DeVette. Richards in 15th. Weird exploding sounds from ACC. And 16th, Manar, he's in the pits. He's doing the damage repairs, I think, that we talked about. So, unfortunately for Manar, not a great start to his race either. But up at the front, Versace, he's having a blast. He's managing to do what we thought he would do, right? Be able to get some space and just run with it. I mean, at the moment, he's now got that gap up to 6 seconds. So,
primarily
this fight,
due to... So
well, it is.
to interrupt you, man, because I've been watching these two while you've been running through the order, and they have been knife fighting each other non-stop, swapping position all over the place. So all they're doing is just giving this man in front just that much more space every single time.
Yeah, it really does create space, and it's so difficult to try and fight back when you're just defending everywhere and scrubbing yourself out to just make sure that you're not giving an advantage to the driver behind you. And talking about knife fights, I mean, Kleb and Visser, they do the same thing. They're 0.4 seconds between them. And right now, Kleb...
There's a race slowly growing between Kleb and Visser.
Oh, that's not what Manar needed. He's picked up a stop-go for speeding in the pit lane.
That's unfortunate. 30 seconds as well, that's going to hurt.
Yeah, a race goes from bad to worst for the Porsche boys from Kaike. They do have representation from Sebo Maloto up there.
Manar wasn't always in the Porsche. He used to be in the McLaren, wasn't he?
He was in the McLaren, and I think
Shout
that's
out
it.
to Wesley Gray for the subscription. Appreciate it. We have to give all of our new subs and viewers and followers the shout out they deserve for supporting our local racing.
Visser making a move on Kleb.
Richard, I don't want you going to resubscribe so that we say your name. I know how you are with plugs, but I mean it's the perfect time really for you
I don't have a sub
Richard,
for you, unfortunately.
let me finish talking to you. I'm about to give you a time to talk for however long you want about what you do, your Discord channels. You've got pretty much 30 seconds to...
Oh, I thank you.
Yeah, to plug your stuff. Eddie, you'll get a chance as well.
I'm just going to take Richard's chance.
You take my chance. Go for it, Eddie. Go.
M&R Monday Night Racing Discord to come join us for some noob-friendly racing every Monday night from 7:30. You will also from there be able to join many other local racing groups and leagues. Basically, we're a window to sim racing in South Africa. Thank you, George.
Only a pleasure, Eddie. Thank you for
Eddie.
taking... Oh, my word. Thank you for taking your allotted time slots to promote your stuff. Angelus will take any spot to talk about anything, even if you're talking. But, I mean, at the same time, we love him. He prepares our track guides. He gives us the information that we need.
He definitely serves a function.
Yeah. Good to know.
Back to the racing though. Visser on Kleb. I mean, this is brewing
They're all
into
over each
a
other.
race.
Yeah, they really are.
Let's go and get some onboards from what Visser's seeing here. Yeah, he's got Kleb going. Let's blank it out. Let's get some immersion going. We can crank up a little bit of the ACC sounds as well, I think.
Looking through the field, everybody really spreading out now. This is our closest race. Apart from Avsmai and Bruno, but I suspect they'll be racing each other for the rest of the night in any case.
Visser here. Just listen to the cracks and popples The pops, my bad, not popples. Popples is not a word. Cracks and pops that come out of this Ferrari when it downshifts. It's one of those cars that I remember sounding great. Then the sound update came out and it just sounded incredible.
It's got better.
And right now, look at this. Oh, there's a contact on.
And Kleb is off.
Very
Kleb is. I mean, he just
and
got
he spun. Yeah.
obliterated there. So let's see the incident here.
I think a little bit nasty from Fisser's side.
Well,
maybe not the move available for him.
I've gone back to just get a full perspective here from both drivers to see what happened. So midway through the circuit, I mean, Fisser isn't in any sort of position to make any moves. I think what happened coming into Sector 3 was a lot of carrying speed and not noticing Kleb's braking point there. And it is so difficult on where you need to go. So here they go. This is where things get interesting. So tucking into the slipstream, Fisser, not right behind Kleb, but there, comes around, Kleb on the brakes, and yeah, Kleb got onto the brakes. Fisser did not anticipate it at all, and just did not have the ability to, has he waited?
Also, it sent Kleb back to the, Kleb's gone to the pits. I think he picked up some damage somewhere through that exchange.
That's the thing. Like, the damage I think caused there is your rear downforce. So that whole sector 3 then just becomes danger zone. But I mean, he didn't really drive it, so I'm not really sure if he just couldn't get the car started again.
He could also have just decided to take his mandatory pit now, get that out of the way. He is the only driver so far to do his mandatory. I think he was maybe just decided, now's the time, I've got some damage, let me go get this pit over, come out in a slightly cleaner field maybe, and restart my race.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be the worst thing. I mean, the pit stop that you'd have to go in for would be longer if you're going in for the damage, so...
Sorry to interrupt, if you could jump to Maloto quickly, as we've got Noor Hendricks bothering him with Basson right behind them.
Okay, so we're following Maloto. I was watching Jason Absma and Cadiel just continue to just slug it out, and it really just has been great racing to watch from them. So at any time we can jump back to Absma and Cadiel. They're letting Visahi run away from them though. That battle is holding both of them up. And Maloto here, he's going to have Hendricks all over him in just a couple of laps to go. I mean, Basson, he's going to be bullying both of them too. I love the lighting that comes out of ACC, the reflections and the light flares down the straights.
These cameramen really need to have a little chamois with them and just give that lens a wipe every once in a while. This is industry standard things.
There's a lot of dirt on that lens.
It just lets us know that they're racing at night time. It's immersion. They don't have lappies. They are unsafe. Maloto, Hendricks, Basson, the little train forms up, and a mixture of manufacturers to enter into the battle too. Porsche, Ferrari, Mercedes.
Also known as Nightmare Mode, Medium and Easy Mode.
I think that's a good way to look at it. If we're playing a game of Doom Eternal, that Porsche would be literally trying to play the game without ammo, maybe naked.
Melee weapons only.
Correct. So Maloto still holds off Hendricks, still holds off Basson, still holds on to his 6th position, which from where he qualified is just absolutely phenomenal. And he's got a whole lot of Hendricks all over him. Let's go and see Hendricks' point of view here. Go and see what Maloto is dealing with. We can also go and watch from Maloto's... Oh! Is that Basson with another dive coming in there? Let's go and see what's happened here.
Back for you.
So Basson...
He was next to Hendricks and then dove in on Maloto. It was
Lots
a clear
of contact.
dive. Lots of contact between the three of them, but
Let's just
clearly
try and see.
Basson dove.
I'm gonna try and get a chase cam. Yeah, he's on the inside. He is very late on the brakes. Yeah, and again, it just looks like that Merc's brakes again just not working out, being on the in the wrong place at the wrong time, and it's caused a horrible incident there on Malotto.
He's running like traction control on 8, which causes the Mercedes to understeer like a ox wagon.
Yeah, it kind of needs some of that rotation. And look at this. This incident, I think, has sustained Malotto some damage. He's lost that battle to Hendricks. He was holding him off. He's going to have a look and see if he can get his position back here. Currently finds himself in 7th. Hendricks stole 6th away. And Malotto does seem to have some legs here. He is all over the back of Hendricks. Let's go for some onboard from the Porsche. Exiting the final corner, about to start their 15th lap.
Just a report from the front. Bruno has managed to get past Absmeyer.
Oh, on the inside, he's trying. He's not gonna. He's gonna be on the outside. Here is Malotto. Let's see how this is panning out. Malotto tries to find the space. He's gonna have the inside line coming up to the double right-hander, and I think he's got the move done. Beautiful work from Malotto there. Bullies Hendricks back for his place, and takes back that 6th place without even losing a lap. Great driving coming out from Malotto there. Hendricks was putting the pressure on before, but Malotto turned it up to 12 or 13.
Yeah, that was a touch of class.
So let's go and see. Bruno's taken.
Past, but he's also slowly pulling a gap on Jason now.
Jason's jumping into the pits. So let's see if we can go back a minute and see where this... So it seems to have taken place maybe on the lap before. We missed the move, possibly just making a little bit too much room for Bruno to get on by.
Hendricks making a move on Malotto. Make it stick. Nope. Malotto closes the door very nice here on him, holds his position, keeping himself in 6th. Ooh,
I'm still just watching how the change of position had occurred. So Absmeyer and Cladiel really having got to sort of a position. I think Absmeyer might have made a mistake somewhere and picked up some damage somewhere. Seems to be a little bit more out of control than he was previously when we were watching him. Could also just be fighting back for that position, but does go almost instantaneously back into the pits. I think that car looks like a little bit too much to handle, to be honest. So having pitted, Absmeyer, Kleb, Richie and Lawrence, the rest of the field still going to do so. It's going to be Malotto, De Wet and Joubert all into the pits. 34 minutes left on the clock. Almost the time that we see these guys do this time and time again. Halfway mark. Time to get some fresh tires onto those rims. Time to try. And this is also where, again, you've got to remember when you change your tires, you've got that transition period of getting them back up to temperature. It's just gone midnight here at Misano. So there's a transitional period. The drivers that are going to be coming out of the pits need to be careful. The drivers still yet to pit. Has Basson got past Hendricks here? Looks like he has.
He has, and Buerta is all over Hendricks as well.
Hendricks, well, I was going to say he might have picked up some damage, and then I realized I'm not too sure where that could have been.
Yeah, part of all that that contact that we saw a little bit earlier, he got caught up in a little bit of it. So I don't know if it was heavy damage. Might be running with a little bit of aero here and there, but
he's very slow through the last corner.
Oh, Buerta is going to be trying to make
Buerta's going to have him
any moment. Going to some onboard footage here from Stark Buerta. Hendricks does seem to be cautious on the brakes as well, and I think Buerta is going to capitalize on this. He's gone very wide on his exit. This means that the run from Buerta doesn't want to make the move on the inside here. Oh, does he? He does. He goes inside, makes it stick. Hendricks, well aware of where Buerta was going, knew that he was holding him up a little bit as well. And good work from Hendricks to just move out of the way, not turn into that, because that could have been catastrophic. But it's a good move as well. Sometimes it does take a little bit
on that Ferrari though. It's not driving like it was earlier in the race.
No, well, he's losing time, and that's happening lap after lap at the moment. Buertz's Aston Martin doesn't look like it's in the greatest of condition from a bodywork point of view on the right side. I'm not quite sure. I do see a lot of excess rubber marbles kicked up on a lot of the paintwork, so I'm not quite sure if that's what I was seeing. But he definitely didn't seem too damaged compared to Hendricks. So let's run through the order at sort of halfway into the race. Arno Versace leads for Pink Panther Racing in his Lamborghini, and he's got himself an 8-second gap. Cadiel, he doesn't have that fight behind him or in front of anymore with Jason Absmeyer. He's in second place. He's got an 8-second gap to catch up to Versace. And really, Versace got that lead, and it just seemed to run away from these guys while they battled it out. So Visser, he's currently in third place. So great pole position, or podium position for him in third. Great drive coming out. Still got to pit though, these first 7 drivers that we run through. Albertine in 4th, Besson in 5th, Buerta in 6th, Hendricks in 7th, Absmeyer in 8th, having pitted, Kleb in 9th. After, Kleb puts it very early, remember. He had that incident where... Was it Visser that had run into the back of him? Yeah.
It was Visser.
Visser that ran into the back of him, jumped into the pits, did his mandatory, and out currently still running around in the top 10. So great drive from him. Richards in 10th, out of position based on not having done the pit stop yet. So Malotto probably in 10th, which means Richie 11th, Lawrence in 12th, De Vet in 13th, Jobert in 14th. Theoretically. When Richards does go and eventually do his pit
stops to happen still.
Yeah, pit stops at the front of the order. I don't think that's where Richards will come out afterwards though. So I was just saying, I think he's now... can you guys see any of the guys' fuel levels? No, you can't see it in...
No, unfortunately not.
Not even in glitch mode. You can see tires.
ABS,
yeah.
I can't even see tires in my view.
So Versace's lead is being eaten up by Cadiel. That's what I wanted to see. Could we see Cadiel in shot? And we can. So Cadiel is going to give us a little battle with it in the next couple of laps as well. Versace concentrating on consistency. I mentioned it before. He really has nothing to fault at this point. He's driven really, really well. And I hope that he can keep it up. So it will be interesting to see when he's going to go into the pits. I want to see when Cadiel decides to pit as well. That Lamborghini... Yeah.
Gentlemen, Richard, welcome to halfway into the race.
Welcome.
So I feel that... sorry, I just need to... I need to attend to something on this side of things. Please continue.
No worries. Well, we've seen an interesting little jump here. Jason Absmeyer is back up into 5th place now.
Yeah, look, there's still a lot of pit stops that have to happen. Jason technically pitted early, if you will. Forced to pit early more than pitted early. We're going to, in the next 10 minutes, see if the field shuffle a hell of a lot just from pit stops.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see where a couple of these guys land. I'm very interested to see where Etienne lands. The Kleb is going to have himself a big jump up, and I think I've been watching the delta between him and Albertine, and he is closing it down. So it's going to be very interesting to see.
Yeah, even Albertine's last lap was...
Oh, Bruno into the pit. Bruno's coming out. Bruno's on his way out of the pits, still in second position. He's about to go third here.
He's about to lose it to Hendricks, but Hendricks still having to pit, of course. So this is now all going to come down to when does Versace pit? How easily, or how clean is his pit?
He isn't even going to lose his position to Mr. Hendricks. Hendricks is now only coming through the final section. That hairpin that we were talking about. Now he's coming onto the start-finish straight.
Absmeyer is still in 5th then, and 4th now, but Yeah, Hendrick still needs to pit, so
Hendricks.
that'll drop him out. So Absmeyer still technically in third, but he's got a good 3-second gap to Bruno ahead of him. He didn't actually end up losing that much with.
Not much at all.
It's now a question of can he get it back, and his tires are a good 3-4 laps older than Bruno's at this point.
Well, Fasaki's now also pitted, so let's see where he comes out.
This will, I think, decide the races. How big is that gap between him and Bruno? I think if it's less than 5 seconds, we're in for a fantastic closing few minutes. And that's, of course, if Absmeyer doesn't catch up to Bruno, because the more Bruno fights with Absmeyer, the bigger gap Fisaki will be gifted, in my opinion.
Yeah. Fasaki now, he's on his way out, so let's see what happens here. Bruno crossing the start-finish line as we speak. Oh, it's going to be close. Bruno is now right behind him.
Oh, 3.5 second gap. That is not what Fisaki would have wanted.
No, not at all.
Though, Absmeyer also closing down on Bruno. He's 1.5 seconds. So what we have is Bruno catching Fisaki while Absmeyer is catching Bruno. And Hendrick's kind of just filling in 4th position.
Well, he's pitted
in
now.
The pits, yeah.
One of the final ones. So after this, it's just Vivian Richards, and then everyone will have pitted. Even though looking like he's running off, it looks like he's picked up lots of dirt on his tire.
Sorry, who was that?
Vivian Richards.
Mr. Viv. What
Had
is
a
he
little bit
driving?
of a,
Still
had a
that-
bit of a
that,
whoopsie.
AMR. I always wonder about guys that you're 25 minutes or 35 minutes into the race and you still haven't.
And you
pitted.
still haven't pitted, yeah.
I'm not a big fan of that strategy.
It's very bold, really.
Yeah.
I'm back. We do not have to worry about the stream going down because I have no power. The inverter's
good.
all sorted, so everything is live, I think, still. I see we
I'm
got
still
raided
seeing
as
things,
well,
I'm
so
still
shout
hearing
out to our raid. Thank you very much. Thank you for the follows. Thank you for tuning in. We're doing some racing here. My name is GMax. I'm sorry if I've been a little bit AFK there. I'm joined by my fellow casters, Spandex Cobra and Angelus, who of course have kept me company throughout the duration of the season. And it's always great to be here on a Wednesday night casting some fakey racing with my friends. Has Vasaki dropped?
Yeah, it looks like he must have, because Bruno's taken the lead, Absmeyer's taken second, Fisaki must have had a
Vasaki must have had
DC.
I mean, the lobby is rejoinable in the race settings, unless Kunos has changed those things up. But that is so unfortunate for Vasaki. What a race he was having as well.
Yeah, that's going to hurt.
Vasaki was just doing so well there. I think Cadhill was cutting into him a little bit, but whilst him and Absmeyer were fighting things out, clean sailing for Vasaki, and just a pity that he's had maybe he's on the same load shedding or internet or area cuts as me, because mine literally had just gone out. So not really sure what's happened there. We've lost our race leader, which means a new race leader is born, and Cadhill, our championship
while you
leader
were
as
away,
well.
Absmeyer has been catching Bruno a little bit, so it's not clean sailing for Bruno just yet.
Okay, well that's what I want to hear. I want to see Absmeyer fighting things out against Cadhill again, because we had that for a good portion of the race until things changed up. So if we can get a late, well, it's going to be a very early morning at Misano, an early morning battle between the drivers. I had to try and make things as dark as possible. It was a struggle. It gets so late. It gets dark so late in Italy. I think even the 10 o'clock settings were still reasonably lightish. So things now most definitely as dark as they can be. Cadhill leads. Absmeyer into second. Fisser, third place. Albertine, 4th. Kleb, 5th. Malotto, 6th. Hendricks, 7th. Buerta into 8th. Basson 9th. Oh, sorry. Who's just dropped out the order there? Someone's just had a big error.
Yeah, Buerta had a terrible corner.
Yeah,
which,
he's just bled positions
yeah,
out there.
he lost about 3 or 4 spots all in one mistake, and he's trying to fight back.
More contact coming up.
Yeah,
though.
he's not fighting back nicely though. He's trying to dive bomb everybody.
A little bit of argy-bargy.
Yeah.
Not what we want to see. I'm just trying to see what
There
mistake he had
goes
made.
Another one.
Big
That's
contact, big
That's
contact.
a lot of contact.
Yeah, who did he send off the track there?
I think that was Vivian Richards. I think.
I think the stewards are going to have a lot of things to look at after this race.
Yeah.
That was clearly just another needless dive where you shouldn't be diving.
So we're just going through some of the replays here with Buerta to just see what's happened. There's that dive on the inside to De Wet and the contact made, and not showing any signs of yielding or waiting up either. So the steward's most definitely going to come in. Lawrence witnessed that whole thing go down. You see him flashing in the background. He's not at all impressed with the state of affairs of Buerta's racing standard there. So unfortunate to come in to this stage of the race where these kind of things are happening, right? We want to see good, clean racing throughout, and it's never nice.
Had really clean racing. That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, generally we do. There's times where frustration gets the better of drivers, and that's unfortunately, I don't want to say the nature of racing, because it shouldn't always be, but that's the nature of sometimes online lobbies. And sometimes the sad part is that there's no recourse here. At least with the steward side, we can impose some penalties, and if we find that drivers are repeat offenders, more severe punishments can be implemented.
Yeah.
You don't want to implement
one
punishments.
qualifying ban for today, and it looks like we might have a few more qualifying bans for next week.
For sure, Basson's definitely come back and had some more incidents here too. So after a qualifying ban from Suzuka, not really wanting to be in the steward's box a race after again. So it'll be interesting to see what gets lodged and what's happening. For now, Cadiel feeling... I'm scared to say comfortable, because Eddie says then he's not comfortable because Absmeyer is going to hunt him. But 6.6 seconds is... it's a gap.
Opened it up again.
Since Visagie has dropped and Bruno got the lead, it's maybe there's been more fight in Bruno, because since that point, Absmeyer has really not been able to maintain closing the gap.
I mean, I think it's Geo21 for the follow. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So Absmeyer not really feeling comfortable at this stage. I think there's still, 20 minutes, anything can happen. We've seen how quickly a positional change can
How much
occur.
actual race time has Absmeyer had in that Lexus?
He's had a lot. He drove the Lexus before he did the Porsche. So the Porsche switch was more with something that him and I were doing together. So he was fitting in with my love of the Porsche. But
as one really should.
Yeah, I'm now, opening my eyes to, the other cars and what he's comfortable in as well. And this Lexus, he's going to pilot it around and show us what it can do, to be honest. I think that there's plenty of fight, and he's dropped that gap down to he's dropped it down by a second, 5.5 seconds there. Whack Dangaroo, thank you for the follow as well. Thank you to everybody.
Like we're about to have this.
Lotto and Christos Besson are having a bit of a tip on track.
Besson's showing a bit of nose, and Lotto closing the door on him.
Somebody phone Molotto and just warn him that Basson is on the warpath tonight.
Yeah, it's been something of an interesting thing for the Mercs that I've noticed. A little bit of the late braking, not liking it so much. Basson flashing at Molotto there. wants to get the move done on the inside. They'll go side by side once again. Let's try and see if we can get a helicam follow of these two. It's a much better way to follow a battle.
Spectacular for this.
There we go. There we go. This is what we want to see. So Maloto holds off Bason. This is a battle for 6th and 7th. And you can just see where when we talk about the handling characteristics of sort of the Porsche versus the Merc. The Merc is a car that you can really drive through a corner a lot easier and more confidently, I feel, than a Porsche. The Porsche is something that needs to be, treated with a little bit of care. It does suffer a lot of the lift-off oversteer. It also just doesn't have the same ability as the other cars to do a lot of the trail braking. So
I am going to say though, if Basson just drops his traction control a lot more, he'll have more fun in that Merc. That Merc, he's got the traction control on 7. That just causes it to understeer, and it makes it really sluggish coming out of a corner.
Oh, Maloto not really setting up for the defense there, and Basson sees a gap. He's gonna try and take it. So Maloto not defending hard at all at that point, and you can just see that. I just feel that nose of the Mercedes just being able to point into corners with a lot more ease, gets onto the throttle and really does exit the corners a lot better. So Maloto needs to be defensive. He needs to make sure he covers up the inside lines, and he's doing just that. This is a complex of corners that it's not easy to make a move. He's always gone very wide. He's going to set himself up for the inside here though, and it's not easy to pass on the outside. He's going to have a try. He's going to set himself up for the inside again, rejoining of the track. A little bit of contact, nothing that's going to throw them off. And what a great race and a battle coming out. Basson, he's not happy with the defense coming out from Maloto, but Maloto doing nothing wrong at this stage. He's putting that Porsche in the right place at the right time. And you can see Basson does have the legs to catch up and possibly pass him, but just not finding the place to do so. Maloto can't leave the inside open at the bottom here. Basson doesn't want to dive back in, and quite right, Maloto defends. Might have set himself up a little bit difficult. No, hasn't at all. Great run coming down onto the straight as Basson now gonna... This is just great racing. Basson gonna have a look on the inside. Is Maloto gonna defend? He hasn't. He's left it open again. This could be the place for Basson to make the move. He's gonna try again. Maloto forced very, very wide over the track. I think Basson has got the move done. Maloto, after trying to hold on and fight, has left the door open. He is gonna try and fight right back. He's got a better inside apex to Basson. I don't think he's got the legs, though, to make a move. Like we said, this third sector, a difficult place to pass. You're basically trying to fight your own car's stability, not trying to find a way past. Yeah.
From this point, it's just terrifying. Terrifying.
What a beautiful little fight coming out from the two drivers, Maloto and Basson. Don't discount Maloto. 14 minutes left in the race. I wouldn't be surprised if we jump back here to find out what's happening again.
Well, there was
never mind jump back. We might as well stay here. There's no fight closer on the track than these two at this point.
At one point, Mr. Lawrence was having a fantastic battle with Devet, and it looks like they've opened a bit of a gap. They were right on top of each other, but not unfortunately.
Yeah, and Misano is one of those tracks. One little mistake anywhere, and it just doesn't really, because I feel like that's design around and being used for MotoGP a lot. It really means you need to be on the mark when it comes to exiting corners with that exit speed. If you miss that, you just lose time everywhere.
It's one of those pin perfect tracks, not in the sense that it's a pin perfect racetrack, but you have to be pin perfect every corner. It's another one, like I say, it punishes you for the rest of the lap if you screw up one corner.
I mean, I feel like we also do say that a lot, because that's really racing, right? To the new people that are watching, every corner counts and everywhere is important. But when it comes down to some circuits, they are just those ones that have that specific rhythm and flow that just make them so important. Something like Catalunya to me as well is also one that needs that. Oh, Christian Stroud with the subscription. Thank you very much. Playing us some double stepple. Well, I get dubstep. I don't know if the stream gets dubstep and everyone gets dubstep, but
Thankfully,
if you do,
we don't.
you don't. It's just me that gets it.
Just you guy.
Okay. Well,
God willing.
I'm glad that you guys don't, because you would judge the sounds that have been assigned to some of these notifications.
Oh, there we go. Shani saying that everyone does get the dubstep.
My condolences to everyone.
Everyone got the dubstep.
I regret nothing. So Cadiel has extended the lead even further. 7.7 seconds now between Cadiel and Absmeyer.
I feel you can give us a run through of everyone, because currently there's no close
big
battles
gaps.
really. Everyone is well spread.
Cadiel, Absmeyer in second, Fissa in third, fourth would be Albertine, sorry, that's the one. Fifth would be Etienne Kleb. Sixth, Basson. Maloto, he's going to be upset. He's let Basson through. He's in seventh, but Buerta in eighth, Hendricks in ninth, De Wet 10th, Richie, he's unfortunately dropped on my side. Lawrence 11th, Jobert 12th, and Richards 13th. So Manar and Richards, Richie, Grey Richie. Has he dropped on your guys' side as well?
He has as
So
well.
the
Yeah,
Porsche.
he was in
So
the chat talking
we've
about it.
we've lost some Porsche drivers, which is disappointing.
Seem to have lost
Fallen
3
soldiers. No, 2,
drivers.
isn't it?
Drivers, I mean.
Oh, 3 in total.
Menar, Basahi, Richie.
Correct. So Manar on lap 7, it looked like Richie on lap 20 and Versace on lap 21. Just as a note, weird ACC exploding fireworks sounds again as we hit the 10-minute mark. Well, not even the 10-minute mark. Not quite sure of why they have such strange exploding sounds. I think it's to keep casters on their toes. Every time it happens, I virtually think that someone is like trying to break into the house. It's the worst feeling. So,
Christian telling us in the chat that Richie seems to suffer from a bout of load shedding.
I mean, I'm currently without power on my side, so I can empathize entirely. I've got a battery that will last for the next 10 minutes, so we do not have to worry about the racing being impacted.
We're good.
It is
I
great.
feel it's not the first time you had to say that to someone.
No comments, Eddie. No comments. Just also would like to give a shout out to my team WRG, White Rabbit Gaming. They have also just allowed me to carry on doing all my streaming bits and pieces, carry on with the Dominus side of things, race in leagues where I can and internet is allowed. So there's a shout out to White Rabbit Gaming, our sponsors, Cool Ideas, Tint, Formula, and my homies over at Elite Host. All massive shout outs, every contribution that you guys do to the stream and contributing like your time, efforts, and whatever you can to the things makes it all possible. And of course my co-casters Angelus and Spandex Cobra, you guys also make it just so much more fun, and I wouldn't be able to do it without you.
Malota and Buerta closest race on track at this point.
This is the battle for 7th and 8th. Malorto in 7th, Buerta in 8th, Porsche versus Aston Martin, and that's the V8 one. Another car I'm quite a fan of, so not upset with seeing a AMR versus Porsche battle in the last 10 minutes. And Malorto again is going to have to defend in this Porsche. We're going to go back to the Helicam. It's just the best way to watch a battle on track. I feel like I've neglected it a little bit during the stream, but we've got it back here. So let's follow on Malorto in the Porsche and Stark Buerta in that Aston Martin. Again, Malotto leaving a lot of gaps on the inside, struggling to get that Porsche stopped and apexing correctly. And this last little complex of corners, yeah, is just gonna be. Oh, he's run very wide. He's gone off track. He can't rejoin safely here, and that's unfortunate for Malotto.
That's one
a mistake.
Two positions.
A
That's going to be
mistake
Three
you do
positions.
not want to make. Malotto, very good job to just rejoin safely, not just jump back on track. Made a mistake, ran wide, and yeah, that's gonna have cost him.
It
Very,
cost him
very
dearly,
heavily.
but it's
Yeah,
worthwhile
I'm
mentioning
sad because
it's worthwhile mentioning the utter sportsmanship of how he rejoined the circuit there. He
For
took it on the
sure.
chin and he rejoined when everyone had safely passed him. And yeah, he came back on in front of Hendricks, but more than enough space for Hendricks.
So you can only fight back for your position if you're not part of an accident coming back onto track.
that's 100%
Makes sense.
true. You also don't want to make any mistakes there and, you know, cost yourself or someone else their race.
Yeah.
It's just the worst feeling in the world as well, you know, when that kind of thing happens. So it does happening. That is racing. And like we said, things can just change in a split second. So 9th place there for Malotto. That means that Buerta will get himself into 7th. Basson, he's going to still hold on to 6th. And I don't think he's at risk of Buerta at this point. 6 minutes to go with a 14-second gap. But things could change up for Buerta. Possibly is Hendricks in this? I mean, he could get into this, and Malotto could fight for his position back from Hendricks. I think that's really going to be where we could focus on for a little bit. If we go back on to like an onboard here with Malotto.
Everyone is just close enough to each other that one mistake, as we saw with Malotto, can cost you
Big.
3-4 positions in one swoop. So this is now, if you want to finish well or finish where you are now, it's up to you for the next 6 minutes. So we're looking at 3, maybe 4 laps to be
Yeah, Malotto's, I mean, it feels like he's struggling a little bit with the Porsche. It's definitely understeering where he doesn't want it to be. He's needing to lift off, which could cost him in the battle with Hendricks up in front in that Ferrari. The gap
We've
between
got a
them.
Buerta fan in the YouTube chat.
Big fan.
Yeah,
Shout
very big fan.
out to Buerta then for our YouTube fan. I don't have any of the chats open at this time. So there's
The chats have
little
been
bit
very
of Buerta.
complimentary of me and Richard, I must just
Very,
point out.
extremely
Very complimentary.
Really?
You can, like it's been incredible, really.
Well, I'm glad that you guys have got your compliments.
And it's made my night.
I think that you guys do a great job. From the bottom of my heart. I hope you guys will tell everybody now that I told you I've been complimentary. I
You're
want to
the
have
best,
a bad thank you.
If I could subscribe to your channel again, I would, but I can't.
No, you just want another shout out time or little pop up with your name. So 4
I
minutes
just
and
wanted to listen to
20 on the
dubstep.
clock to go. Cadiel, I can now almost say not at risk, right? Or at risk? No, we can't.
Yeah, Cadiel, 8.2 second gap. What are we on? 4 minutes to go, so he's got 3 laps if he's lucky. I don't see him losing 3
Listen,
seconds a
he
lap.
is cranking on those wind-up waxies and putting the distance between them at this point. Really have to tip the hat to the drive from Cadiel. He did have the unfortunate incident with Absmeyer. Gave the positions back. They then fought it out for a while, whilst Versace amassed a decent lead. Fortunately, Versace dropped out, which meant that when Cadiel had got the move done on Jason, he came back in that first position. And with 3 minutes 22 on the clock, it really just comes down to, with this kind of a gap, just consistent, clean laps around, not making any mistakes, keeping the car between the white lines. I think Cadiel knows that. He's got the racing experience, he's got the pedigree, plenty of leagues. We've seen these guys drive in, and they know what's up. So here we go to Jason Absmy. He crosses over that start-finish line to start his 35th lap here at Misano. Also a great drive. Shout out to Jason Absmeyer. Fissa though, he's gonna be my MVP, most improved driver.
Yes, absolutely.
From the whole series to now. Just a really good, solid qualifying. Put himself into the shooting position, and has just seemed to have that consistent drive. I mean, 3rd place for him. Would have been 4th with Visachi here, but you know, that's racing. Things happen. Visachi's car exploded in a ball of flames off camera, and it's just allowed Fissa to find himself that 3rd position. So podium for him. I think that will be his 1st in the series.
I'm just checking that up for you. What was Fissa's best finish so far was a top 5.
You'll be happy with this then.
Yeah, a top 5 in 3 races. So 3rd place for him is a good jump.
Yeah. I don't think that he has got a podium spot. So
No.
shout out to him. 4th place currently held down by Albertine. Kleb. An okayish drive, I think, from Kleb. I'm a big Etienne Kleb fan. Always from the Project Cars 2 side of things. And
It'll be his 2nd top 5 for Etienne Kleb.
yeah, a top 5 is a top 5, and it's still solid. But I know that Kleb as a driver has more in him to be a little bit more competitive as well. So possibly just a disappointing round personally for me, for Kleb from Misano. 5th place is still great.
Racing.
It could be. But as I said, big Kleb fan. Would like to see him in the places that he needs to be. Basson in 6th. A rough race for him, really, in summary. Hasn't had much luck with his qualifying ban side of things. Came in, had some incidents as well, but did make some moves, some good racing, and we had some nice battles on screen.
Also, it's a good performance.
No, tip the hat. Tip the hat. Buerta, he's had a bit of an aggressive drive at times. And to be honest, it sometimes gets the better of you. He's got the red sort of nighttime running lights. You know, he's showing the aggression. Darth Vader Buerta. Steward's inquiries, those are all to be lodged by drivers if they feel that they were wronged. And it's not really up to us to make that decision. We can comment on some things that we see on camera, but really can't put ourselves in their position. We're going over to our final lap, right?
Yeah, Bruno's
going to cross going to cross the line now. He's not going to have to. This is it. Cadiel, our winner here at Misano. A solid victory from Cadiel. We'll be able to catch through the running order. Absmeyer now will finish in 2nd place. Fissa, he will come.
Well-deserved 3rd.
I mean, he was a couple of seconds off the top 2, but it does not matter. Positions are what counts for points. And Fissa now, the last couple of corners, get to be caught on camera. 3rd place, and on the podium for the Ferrari boys of Swift Motorsports. They'll be very, very happy with their performance here tonight. Going over the line, Albertine. He'll go across in 4th place, pending nothing goes wrong in these last couple of death corners. He's looking okay. It looks like he's going to take this one home. 4th place for Amter Race. Also, again, going to be good for them and the points. A good drive in the Aston Martin. And a beautiful race from Albertine. Top 5 position for him. We'll run through the rest of the order as well in just a seckie. So Albertine crosses the line in 4th. Kleb.
Just rounding the last corner now.
That wasn't off
Basson,
far.
I find him.
Yeah, Basson is chasing. So Kleb in 5th, Basson in 6th. Buerta finishing 7th. 8th for Hendricks. 9th for Meloto. 10th for De Wet.
Buerta
11th for Lawrence.
Are actually still running on track. They've not
but
crossed the line.
they have crossed already. They finish a lap down, so the game has already ended it for them, as far as I know. They get that little podium.
They don't get a choice of
Yeah, that's why I say Berta is still running, and
So-
Hendrix is still running.
Just a shout out to, again, you guys. Thanks so much for joining me. I appreciated it. To our viewers over on YouTube and Twitch land, thank you very much as well. We had some raids, some new follows, growing the channel, which is, for me, always a slight reward. So thank you, everybody, for joining in. If you do want to join in with some Dominus Gaming action, just make sure to go and join the Dominus Gaming Discord links. I'm hoping that Gareth Gazoo has spammed some of those links in the chat. So if you guys do want to join up and do some racing, you guys head over and join us. Of course, Monday Night Racing is the place to be if you just want something casual. Spandex Cobra, he runs that. We've also got a Discord there. Feel free, again, guys, to spam those links. A great race.
You'll find everything on the Dominus Discord, though. We
you'll
have
find
all
everything.
the infos there.
And if you have a PS4, you're also welcome to come and join a community called Logistical Nightmare Racing for guys just wanting to do a little bit of console racing. If PC.
Let me see if we can get Bruno in here for an interview. Let's see if he's available in Discord. Let's just go into... Let's see if Jason's... If he's still in here. I'm not sure. Damn. Wanted to really get Bruno in here. I forgot to mention that in my... I need to add it to my notes for my pre-drivers briefing, guys. So, my bad. Okay, next week we'll have drivers interviews. First, second, and third will be available. I want to hear from the guys, as well as any other driver that wants to come on and give us a little bit of feedback as to how the race was. So next week, we have something maybe a little bit more fun. A lot of other leagues do it, so I'm copying and pasting some things that I've seen. It would be nice to hear from the drivers themselves. So,
where are
guys,
we next week? Zandvoort.
Zandvoort.
That's going to be murder.
Yeah, murder. Zandvoort next week. Wednesday, same time, same place. We kick the broadcast off at 8 p.m. Qualifying at 8:15, or ends by 8:15, and then we're over to the race. So by 8:30, we're already live and racing. So make sure that dinner is done by 8 o'clock. Guys, it's been great. I will see you on the flip side. I don't know what camera angles things are being left on here. I can't swivel my chair. It's very weird. But yeah, thank you guys. I'm going to just mute Richard because I know that he's going to try and plug things as quick as possible.
Oh, I've plugged my stuff.
He's muted.